Hi, thanks for having me here. I'm excited for tonight. Techno for me is a truly personal music identity, let's put it this way, as I've been focusing on and consuming it in the last 10 years on a daily basis, and I've been also studying it. And techno for me sometimes as this element, like in photography, where you capture a moment and you stay for that moment for a while. For me, techno has this ability for the listener to be hypnotized by the music that it's hearing, for the repetition. And also, of course, there's a strong element of minimalism that things can sound simple at the first listen, but when you go deep, you can find all the layers of sounds and movements. And for me, that's what makes techno so interesting, and that's why I've chosen to dive deep into this style. I really need to make music to feel balanced with myself. It's quite an addiction, but it's a super challenging process. It's not fun most of times. It is fun, but challenging at the same time. And there are so many frustrations when you want to build a track and something is still not right. It can be the sequence, it can be the sound itself. When I start a track, I've been in the past years, I've been focusing a lot on MIDI sequencing. So for some years, I would start with the low end and then all the synths. Nowadays, I think I'm doing the opposite. I'm starting with MIDI sequencing and the musical idea itself on the mids, and only then I'm blending the low end. But of course, it's not always the same. I try many things, and my music is the result of an experimentation process where I'm searching for a sound, or rather a solution. Sometimes I spend hours and hours experimenting, changing the sequencers, changing the synthesis of the sounds, changing the processing, and eventually something come up. I'm not that kind of guy that says, okay, this day I want to do something like this, and I'll go and I do it and it's done. This never happens with me. So I'm always comparing, and things have to sound sonically strong. Not only the idea itself, but the sound itself has to be built like a tank. I really need to feel it like a cohesive sound object, let's put it like this. And so when I feel it, for example, it happened to me last night. Last night I concluded a track and I said, okay, this is it. This is ready to be sent to the label manager that I'm working now, or this is ready to be on my demo folder. And sometimes it's a long process. And as I started by saying, it's not always a super fun, but at least for me, addictive, and I need to do it. But yeah, it requires study and experimentation, a lot of things. Of course, I can do one track in one day, in one session, but it happens less and less, to be honest. So in my music, I want to do this trick, and I want to do it wisely, because I really want people to be inside my loop. But I want to keep it interesting. Yeah, I try to have all these layers that you might not notice at first time, but then you see that they're there. And of course, I like dissonant melodies. So my music will always have this character of sounds a bit dissonant. This is a bit an influence because I really enjoyed alternative rock and metal in the past, but also a bit of experimental music as well. It might also be connected with some weird cinema that I like too. So as I like to put in my music this component of dissonant, slightly absurd, slightly abstract, but still clubby, and still with a proper bass line. So let's put this all together, shake it, and try to get something that has a bit of everything, and I think that's my signature sound. Haze is our baby. I'm so proud of what we've done together. Me and my colleagues, of course, Norbak, Vasco, Altrain, Cravo, Vil. So Haze is the sum of our visions, and when we release music, it has to be something that means something to each of us, even that we're all different. So when we hear the output of our label, you hear this filter of 5 heads deciding stuff. Maybe there were tracks that would be super nice for 2 elements, but the other 3 didn't like, so we rejected. So yeah, this is a common vision, a common aesthetic vision of 5 people that are together for a long time, that made music together, that played together, that thought together many things. So yeah, it's a project with friends, but friends, almost family. But where we all have this philosophy towards techno, and we discuss it on a daily basis. So yeah, it's our baby Haze. For me, it's really nice to travel all around the world, and in some really not obvious places, you still find people dedicated to the sound, dedicated to the celebration. And that's really interesting. On a human level, to find out that all around the world, people are still connected through music. It's really nice. It's really nice. Of course, I could name all the biggest parties that I went, and of course that's also a big part of my journey. But going to really far away places from where I live, and still find out that people are there for the same cause that made me dive into music, this kind of music 10 years ago. That feels really good. And now I can name 2 projects that I feel that I'm really close to, and I wish them all the best. One of them is Modularz Festival in Portugal. I'm there since the day 0, not the day 0, the day -10, because the project had so many different stages, and I was there since the beginning. I'm not part of the organization, but I love to see how the festival is growing, and it's honestly a festival for those who really like this kind of techno. People know that I like this kind of direct, hypnotic, dissonant kind of stuff. And that's what Modularz is also about. And I have to mention as well GAR Porto, that we have a residency there, we have a Haze residency there, and it's also a club, in my opinion, with the right motivation. So I'm here in Riga. And honestly, as I said before, I can feel it here that the motivation is the music, and this particular sound itself. So I think we have all the conditions for tonight for a proper session, and Phenomenon is doing everything on point. So I just can't wait.